Hey guys, I'm RNG Gamer. I play all my games randomly. Today we're going to be going over my Sega Genesis / MegaDrive collection. I've got some good ones here. Sit back and enjoy it. Also, if you haven't already and you like the videos, subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave a comment. I love to answer comments. I answer like almost every one that I get. And also, spread the word. We're closing in on 500 subscribers. I'd really love to hit it in the next week. I've got something special planned for when we hit it. So let's do this. Up first, I'm going to show the console box. This is the Genesis Model 1 console box that a lot of us got for Christmas or our birthdays back in 1990. I was a Genesis guy. I had a Genesis before I had a Super Nintendo, and you know, this has always been near and dear to my heart. Unfortunately, I had to sell mine many years ago. I'll tell that story sometime, but lucky to find this one at a yard sale somewhere for a pretty decent price. Happy to have it. And although this box is really chewed up, here's the Model 2 Genesis. Been destroyed over here in the corner. I found this at a flea market for just a few bucks, but it's complete and I'm happy to have it. I did have one of these again when I was a teenager. First up, this is a compilation of a re-release of some really hard to find shoot 'em ups, some shmups that was released by Limited Run Games, and it's the Toaplan Collection here. You can see it there, maybe it'll focus, there we go. But it has Truxton from classic Game Room fame, Hellfire, Fire Shark, and Zero Wing. A lot of these games have been like re-released recently on other compilations and stuff, but I'm still happy to have this one. It's sealed and it's like pretty pricey, maybe $400, something like that, which is shocking to me. I mean, these games were like 60 bucks a piece, so maybe that's not that unreasonable, but that's a lot cheaper than some of these games go for if you were to buy the original versions. And I think this is really cool to have. It came with some goodies. It came with a Zero Wing pin that says, "All your base are belong to us," from early internet fame. And a thank you card, which is really cool, that's signed on the back by the creators of the game, Masahiro Yuge and Tatsuya Uemura. So pretty cool. First, we have another re-release. This is from one of my pickups videos. This was the Advanced Buster Hawk Glay Lancer 30th Anniversary Edition. This is a very rare game on the Mega Drive, like almost like $700 or something. They re-released it for the 30th anniversary. I'm happy to have it. It's supposed to be a really good game. I've mentioned this before. This game came like this unsealed. So, like, man, it's hard to open. There we go. So it came just like this with the manual in the cart. Looks like the real deal, but no cellophane. So it's not a sealed game. There are no sealed versions of this. It comes like this. And I love that because I have so many games that sit on the shelf for like years. I never get around to playing them because I play everything randomly, and the price just keeps going up, and it gets to the point where I like can't open my own games because they'll lose so much value. So I would actually prefer most games to just come like unsealed like this. I think it would be like really beneficial for me because usually when they're sealed, I have to like trade them to somebody that has an open copy, you know, get a little bit of extra value, but I hate doing that. I don't want to do that. I just want to play the games. I'm more of a gamer than I am a collector, although it doesn't look like it if you look behind me. Here's another Mega Drive game. I have not played this. I did play the first game in the series on the MSX computer, which I believe is called Darwin 2081, 3081, I can't remember, but this is Darwin 4081. This is another shoot 'em up. It's kind of cool. It's not great, but your ship is like a critter, like a single-celled organism, and as you pick up power-ups, it like evolves and gets more and more complex and also larger and larger, and that's the gimmick to the game, that the bigger you get, the more space you take up, and I'll let you see the back. People seem to like that when I show the back of the box. You can see a little bit of the gameplay. That way I don't have to record footage for everything. I don't like capturing gameplay footage, especially not for a whole collection. Maybe one day. When I first got into game collecting, this is one of the games that I wanted to track down, and it was $10 then. And I was like, forget it, that's too expensive. I'm not paying $10 for a freaking Sega Genesis game. That's insane. Now it's like over $100. I wish I bought it at $10, but I got this copy at a convention and I paid like 80 or something for it, but it's Alicia Dragoon. Cool game. Side-scrolling action game. Gets pretty tough there at the end, but this is a fun one. Happy to have it. Wish I got it at $10. This is the second most common game on the Genesis. Everybody's played it. I think it's pretty good. I think it's better than the Super Nintendo version, but once again, pretty tough. Disney's Aladdin. Everybody's played this. Everybody's played this. This is the game that was the original pack-in game for the Genesis. I finally beat this a few years ago. I didn't know you could continue your game. So every time I played it my whole life, I started from the beginning. Not a super great game, but a cool pack-in because it looks like a good arcade game. And it could show what the Genesis could do and what Nintendo don't. Altered Beast. Pretty decent one to have in a collection, not to play. Here's a heavy hitter and a really, really fun game. I had a great time with this one. I probably put 100 hours into it. It's Barbie Supermodel. Of course, I'm lying. I played this for like 30 minutes one time. It's really bad. You drive around in the Barbie mobile, you bicycle and avoid obstacles, and you also like can do her makeup and hair. It's pretty bad. I bought this and a lot with some other games and just kept it. I don't know why. My 8-year-old daughter tried to play this and she likes Barbie and she's like, Daddy, this is the worst game ever made. She's not wrong. It's pretty bad. I didn't think this is a very good movie. I don't think this game is very good, although I haven't played it in a long time and I can't remember. One of these games on the Genesis is like terrible, like a 1 out of 10 kind of game. But is it this one? I can't remember. Batman Returns. It's a side-scrolling Batman game. Is this the really clunky one with the grappling hook where you have to like hold start and down and A or whatever to like use it? Anyway, let me know if this one's any good. I picked this one up recently. This is a cool one I'm happy to have. I think I have this on like every system it came out on. It came out on the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, and the NES. I have all 3 of them. I wasn't trying to do it, it just happened. But it's Battletoads and Double Dragon. This is a mashup of the Battletoads and Double Dragon series. It's supposed to be a lot of fun. I don't remember if I've ever played this or not, though. If I did, it was like when I was a kid. This is in that same lot with Barbie. This game is really hard and really bad. This is not a good game. It's janky as all can be. I did play it. The pictures on the back of the box are really bad now that I'm looking at it. This was like a lazy, phoned-in experience, which is crazy because it's done by Sunsoft, but it's Disney's Beauty and the Beast, Roar of the Beast. Let's see if I can get that in focus. There we go. Let's see, man, if you can see these pictures on the back. They're like, you know, they used to take these pictures with like a camera, like a film camera, and these are like way out of focus. It looks awful. Here's one I played a little bit. I never really could get into it. It's like an adventure game. I wish it was more like an action game, but it's Beavis and Butthead. Everyone my age is a fan of the TV show when we were kids, but teenagers. But this game, it does look like the show, which is amazing for a 16-bit game, but I don't remember it being very fun. Here's one I wouldn't even say I owned if you asked me. I don't know where this came from, but I have it. It's a clean copy. It's dusty, but it's Best of the Best Championship Karate. It looks like a karate game. Like, I mean, one-on-one fighter with karate. It's probably really obtuse and bad controls, but it's got the activated thing with the Sega activator, that like circle or that hexagon you would stand in and like punch, and it had the lasers and it would sense it like an early motion controller. It was so bad. I had one. It did not work very well. Like you had to like kick behind you to walk and like punch to the right to like jump. It was strange. Anyways, anyone out there played this? It's done by Electro Brain. Like they really branded their production company on the front of this. Like they were proud of it. Who knows? This is one I picked up. It's supposed to be pretty good. I pick up like every shmup I can, shoot them up. This one you play is like, I don't know, you're just like shooting bugs and stuff. Biohazard Battle? I don't know. Is it supposed to be good? I can't remember. I feel like I would know about it. Anyway, this one's got a little bit of like crinkly water damage. It was probably in somebody's basement where they buy their hot water heater or something for like 15 years. Here's a remarkably terrible game that basically nobody likes on any system, including me. I haven't played the Genesis version, but it's Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's like one of those like video capture games like Mortal Kombat, where you have like a digitized actor. It's a really bad ripoff of Keanu Reeves from the Bram Stoker movie, and it's clunky. You're just like punching bats and kicking snakes and stuff. Like, I don't remember any vampires being in the game, but oh well. It's bad. I think I played it on the Sega CD a fair amount. I found this at a flea market. Some guy at a booth just had a bunch of Genesis games. I brought this game home and tried to play it, and whoever played this had like 150 hours in it. It's one of these computer strategy, tactical combat games that EA loved to port these over to the Genesis, and they're really hard to play. The fact that somebody put so much time into this, but it's Centurion, Defender of Rome, and it's like, you can see the kind of game this is. We're talking like set up your military units and plan your attack and try to take over a territory. It's kind of like, you know, the Total War series, but way more primitive and clunky. I could not get into this. I tried. Here's one that everybody loves. It's a great game. Probably my favorite in the series, although it's really tough. If you put in the time and learn it, you can like basically play through the game without ever getting hit. Personally, I never got that good at it. But it's Contra Hardcore, or Hard Corpse, as my daughter likes to say. But everybody knows this game. When I started collecting for the Genesis, this was about a $30 game, and I paid about $30 for it. I don't know how much it is now, but I remember it was one of like the 5 most expensive Genesis games when I got this, and I don't know if that's the case anymore, but this is one that was sought after even back in the day. I never heard of this. This is like a homebrew aftermarket kind of game, or an unlicensed game. Never saw it. Never heard of it. Went to a convention and like every vendor had a copy of this. I don't know if someone found like a shipping container full of them somewhere, but it's Earth Defense. It still has the price on it. I think I talked the guy down to $8, but it's supposed to be a really bad shmup. It's done by Realtek. They did some other like unlicensed stuff, but I don't know. I'm happy to have this one even. It looks so janky. I like terrible games. Maybe it'll be kind of fun in a bad way. This is one of the Hallmark games on the system. Everybody loves this one. Earthworm Jim, a lot of fun. Really cool graphics, a lot of fun. Good sense of humor. And this is one of the pack-in games that came in with the Model 2 Genesis. It was a one-on-one fighter, kind of try to rip off Mortal Kombat, but not nearly as good. And I don't think this game is great, but it's Eternal Champions. Probably one of the most common Genesis games. All right, let me go put this stuff back on the shelf to grab the next batch. All right, we're back. Up next is a Neo Geo game that was ported to the Genesis. People say this is a really good version, but I have it on the Neo Geo, and this version is not very good compared to that. Of course, how could it be? You know, the Neo Geo is such an expensive and amazing system, and the Genesis was like $100. But it's Fatal Fury, classic fighting game. You know. This is supposed to be one of the best shoot-'em-ups on the system. I picked this up from a buddy. I have not played it yet. I really want to play it, but it's Gyara's. I wish I had like the MegaDrive version because the cover's so much cooler. It has like a girl with like flowing hair and the ship on the front. This looks like a rip-off Saturday morning cartoon from like 1987 that ran for like 7 episodes and was canceled. But it's supposed to be pretty decent. It's supposed to be really hard too. I love this series. I'm terrible at it. I want to be better. I have an arcade 1-up that has the first game in the series on it. This is supposed to be the easiest version of that, but it's Ghouls and Ghosts. I have it on the Super Nintendo too, or that's Super Ghouls and Ghosts, or Super Ghosts and Goblins. I can't remember. It's supposed to be relatively easy. I've struggled with it. I don't know. I'm just bad at these kind of games, but I really want to dive into this one. Really want to play it. And this has gotten pricey too. This is like up over $100, which is insane. Uh-oh, I gotta peel the label off. This still had the price from a company on it. Oh man, the flipping label tore. Like I don't have any goo gone down here to get it off. Jeez, all right, fine, whatever. We're just gonna live with this. This is a former rental game. It's like half the Sega Genesis games I have, but it's in Sector X. And you play as a dude riding a bug, or you are a bug and you're killing other bugs. I don't know much about this, and I picked it up because it's a shoot 'em up. It was kind of cool. Most shoot 'em ups look cool to me. It's just so simple and fun. I don't remember if I've even played this or not. The movie was pretty bad. The remake was better, but it's Judge Dredd. We have old Sly Stallone there on the front in all his glory. You can't even tell who it is. I mean, you can. Look at those lips. Like, does anybody else on the face of this earth have lips that look like Sylvester Stallone? Probably not. Okay, guys, we're back. My battery died. Time has passed. Society has hopefully advanced. I went upstairs while my battery was charging on my camera, and my wife had me start cleaning the house because there's company coming over. So this is like way later. I'm trying to think of where we were. We just talked about Judge Dredd, right? Is that what it was? Sylvester Stallone's lips? I can't get that image out of my mind. Anyway, let's keep going. Up next, we have kind of a hard to find uncommon game that's really cool. It's like a ripoff of The Legend of Zelda, a little bit, maybe. I can't remember. It's isometric. Landstalker? Whoa, focus. Do it, focus. There we go. I kind of went out of my way to get this one. Like, I saw it at a game store and I probably paid a little bit too much for it because I had to have it, but it's supposed to be pretty decent. This is a classic. Most people that play the Genesis played this or rented it or tried to beat it. It can get a little tricky, but it's the Lion King. Pretty decent game. I never had a problem with the monkey throwing part of it or the running into the screen kind of jumping level, but you can see that part right down here in the back. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that. But it is challenging. It is challenging. Oh, this is a wisdom tree game. Joshua, the Battle of Jericho, right? Bible stories. I didn't know this was even on the Genesis. I can't remember where I found this, but it's like complete in box. I have it in a little box protector. I played this on the NES, right? Is this on the NES? Is this on the Bible Adventures game? I don't remember. Whatever. I kind of like these wisdom tree games. They're so bad, but they're a neat part of history, you know? This game's okay. There's a lot of bad Jurassic Park games. This is one of the better ones. You can play as either a Velociraptor or, what is his name? Dr. Grant. It's kind of cool. Totally different feel for both of them. I did beat this one when I was younger. I haven't played it in many years, though. I did a review of this on the channel. This is basically Thunder Force 4. They call it Lightning Force. Not lightning, but lightning with an E. Lightning? The only way I've ever heard the word lightning is in terms of like birth physiology. Like lightning is like the baby moving inside the mother's womb, right? Is that what lightning is? I can't remember. It's been a while since I went over that stuff in school. But anyway, this is a great game. It's one of the best looking 16-bit shmups of all time, and it's a lot of fun. But they kind of went over the top on this. They like ramped up the difficulty, they ramped up the music, they just ramped up everything, and they went a little too far with this one. So this isn't my favorite Thunder Force game, but it's still really cool. I don't know if I've ever played this one or not. It looks kind of like a ripoff of Rad Racer, but it's a racing game. Lotus 2? Man. See about there, remember Lotus automobiles? Do they still make cars? I remember like Lotus was really cool in the 80s, like in early 90s. Those were neat cars. This is a rental version game. This was a rental, but it's Maximum Carnage. Really cool game. It's like one of the only Genesis games that's like red, like on red plastic. My label is like ripped, dude. It's torn apart. This is a rental, and it was rode hard and put up wet, as my dad would say. There's another version of this where the cart is black, and I've picked up a couple of those, and I always sell them. I like the red one better, but I think the black one's worth a little bit more, believe it or not. Even though it's less cool, it's a little harder to find, I think. I don't know. This is an okay game. This game's pretty fun. I played this a lot in the arcade, and the Genesis version's decent enough. It's Mercs. It's over the head, kind of like run and gun, sort of like Akari Warriors, kind of, but like good or better. It's not great. It's a decent enough game. Oh, this one's good. This one came from I think this came from a thrift store when I picked it up, but I had this when I was little and my parents saw me playing it and they were super mad. But then they bought me like the third one for my birthday when I turned 13. So anyway, it's Mortal Kombat. Everybody knows Mortal Kombat. This version over the Super Nintendo has blood in it. Cool enough. It still has the price written on it in the grease pen right there. It says $2.98. Man, what a world we lived in the game collecting community back then. $3 thrift stores, Sega Genesis games. Man, that was awesome. And of course, to go with it, you have to have Mortal Kombat 2. Strange that this is on the Genesis. This is a pretty good port of this game, but it's Miss Pac-Man. I like Miss Pac-Man a lot. As I recall, this is just like an expanded Miss Pac-Man. It says it has 36 crazy and zany levels or whatever. Mazes. Okay, fine. It's pretty decent on here. If you like Miss Pac-Man, this is a good way to play it. And the Genesis controller's as good as you're going to get for a D-pad that isn't like an arcade stick. This was my favorite sports game growing up. I love this game and I still love it today. I haven't played it in many years though, but I think it's really cool. It's gotten kind of pricey and I wish I had the sequel, the hockey version of it, but it's Mutant League Football. This is just like NFL 94, like Madden 94 with like gory monsters fighting and stuff. You can like attack the referee and like kill him so he doesn't like throw a flag for a penalty. Pretty cool. I like the hockey one better, but this one's still really cool. NBA Jam Tournament Edition. What can you say? I have this on so many systems, but the Tournament Edition's better than the standard NBA Jam. It is a lot of fun. It plays well on the Genesis. You find this game a lot. There's a lot of these floating around. This was in a recent pickups video. This came from Strictly Limited Games. It's the reprint of Panorama Cotton, which is the best the best looking, not the best looking 16-bit game I've ever seen. Focus, there you go. It's got like a Space Harrier look. It has some like hand-drawn sprites in it that look unbelievable. You know, you're flying into the screen. It's kind of like a shmup, but not really. And the Cotton series is a famous shmup series where you play as a little witch. She has a fairy friend that kind of tags along with her. It's fun. It's a little, man, my hair. It's kind of a, it's an interesting system. You like collect magic crystals that charge your magic attack and you execute them. So it's kind of this risk reward on whether you want to level up your character or get like more magic attacks. Man, that looks bad. My hair got all messed up cleaning up the house. Oh well, what can you do? This is another shmup on the Genesis. It's really cool. Philios. It's got like a Greek mythology kind of feel. This game's a lot of fun. And the first level's really impressive, and the second level's like a little less impressive, and the third level's a little less impressive, and it just gets worse. It's kind of like they put 80% of their money into the development of the first level, and then like never really finished the way they wanted to. But this game's famous for the cutscenes with, it's hard to see her right here, Artemis. She's a scantily clad heroine of this. You're trying to save her. And you play as Apollo in this. And Artemis was Apollo's sister, right? In Greek mythology, I didn't get that wrong, right? Artemis and Apollo were brother and sister. But they have romantic interests in this game. So I think they changed the story to make it, I don't know, maybe less incestual. Decent enough game. It's fun. I'm glad to have it. Love this game on the Atari 2600. This reboot they released on like every system under the sun, and it's Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure. This game's not very good. It's super clunky. Whoever put this out, Activision back then, man, it could have like bankrupted the company. This is one of those like cardboard box Genesis games, so I have it in a protector. I don't know if I played this or not. I don't remember this. I have no recollection of it. But it's Ren and Stimpy. What is it? Presents Stimpy's Invention. The Ren and Stimpy show presents Stimpy's Invention. I liked Ren and Stimpy growing up. It was very strange. A strange cartoon, man. I don't know how that got on TV for kids, but man, it was bizarre, wasn't it? It was crazy. But I imagine this game is pretty whimsical and zany. I'll have to see if this is still on the backlog. I might have played it like 8 years ago for an hour or something and thought like, this is the worst game ever made. Who knows? This is in a recent pickups video. Terrible game featuring Aerosmith. Revolution X. It's like a gallery shooter. Looks so bad, man. I played this in the arcade and it wasn't very good, and I know that's the best version, so this has to be really bad. And then a fantastic game, probably my favorite racing series of all time, Road Rash. You ride around on a motorcycle and you can punch the other motorcycle racers that are going against you, and you race down these like country roads and you avoid traffic and you win prize money to get better motorcycles. It's really cool and a lot of fun. Taking a quick intermission, got to move these games to grab the next batch. All right, we're back. I'm noticing as I pull these off the shelf that they're all like really dusty. I apologize for that, guys. I clean up down here, I promise. But it's really hard to dust Genesis games. especially with that hang tab on the top, like if you try to slide a Swiffer Duster in there, it hits that tab and like won't go on top. So you have to like gingerly work it between every single game, and just, if I do it, I'll come in here and do it. But if like my 8-year-old daughter, it's her turn to clean up down here, and she's trying to do one of her rare chores that she does, it doesn't get done. So like the front like 1 inch of all the games is dusted on the top, and then like there's just a pile of dust behind it. But what can you do? Such is life. Continuing with the series, we got Road Rash 2. This is in like a universal game case. This game's loose, but more of the same, just cooler bikes and everything else with this one. And then we have Road Rash 3. This one is complete. I think I played Road Rash 3. I think I rented it, but I have not played this in a long time. I need to do this one again. Isn't this one the best? I don't know. Tell me. Also, tell me to look into the camera instead of looking at the viewfinder. It's hard, man. I just like looking at myself. Here's a great game. A hidden gem, if you will, but it's Rocket Knight Adventures by Konami. Great side-scrolling, like, kind of hack and slash game. I guess what is he? He's an opossum, right? He's an opossum. Okay. Which I found out recently that like an opossum and a possum are an opossum and a possum are different species of animal. I always thought like possum was just a nickname for a possum, but apparently they're different. Anyway, there he is. Pretty cool game. He's got a rocket pack that he bounces all over the screen. It's pretty cool. Bad game, not the worst game ever. Not by leaps or bounds. There are worse games on the Genesis than this by a lot. Shaq Fu, it's not great, but it's not that bad. It's just like a generically bad game. I'm sure a lot of people are just disappointed because they rented it. They really like Shaq, and they're like, how could he do this to me? Here's the game that most people bought their Genesis for. Really fun game. People say it rivals Mario. They're wrong. It's not as good as Mario, but it's still a fun game. Sonic the Hedgehog. And of course, we got the not for resale version that came with the Model 1 Genesis. Sonic 2. You get to play as Tails with this one too. It's decent enough. I think Sonic 2's a little bit better than Sonic 1. And then Sonic 3, better yet still. Pretty decent game. Sonic and Knuckles. This game's more famous, I think, because like if you've never seen the cartridge, and I'll show you the back, you can like plug the other Sonic games into the top of it and add Knuckles into those games. So if you put like Sonic 3 or Sonic 2 into this, it'll insert Sonic or Knuckles into those games, which like really breaks them, but it makes it a lot of fun. It's very novel. This game gets a lot of flack, but I think it's pretty good. Sonic Spinball, it's Sonic in like this weird pinball world. The problem, I can tell you what the problem is with this game. It's not the mechanics or the nonsense bouncing around with Sonic. It's the fact that all the levels are like gritty and dark and gross, and like you're like in a sewer, you're in a radioactive plant, it's like dirty. It needs to be like bright and fun looking, and it's not. It's not bright or fun. It looks like you're playing like an Aliens game or like Terminator or something. It's just dark colors, and it needs to be more like whimsical. That's where they went wrong with it. This game's kind of like, I'm surprised to find out, was sort of hard to find on the Genesis, but it's Spider-Man, just good old Spider-Man. This isn't a great game. I'm not really into Spider-Man games in general, but this one's particularly kind of clunky and bad, but it's exactly like you would expect a Spider-Man game to be on the Genesis. Side-scroller with swinging, a little platforming. This game's sweet. This next game's amazing. I love it. I love this series. I don't have the third game in the series, though, guys. I've got to find it, but this one's Splatterhouse 2, which I think is the best one in the series, but you play as the main character. You're trying to save... In the first one, you're trying to save your girlfriend, but you find out that she doesn't make it. Sorry, spoilers for a game that's like almost 40 years old. But in this one, like, you find out she maybe is still alive, so you have to go back into the mansion and try to save her again. It's really fun, very gory, but great series. This is a really fun shmup. I have played this before. I have not finished it or one credit cleared it, but I went ahead and got my copy of it. It's Steel Empire. Supposed to be pretty fun and fairly easy, like a good beginner shmup, and I like those sometimes. I play a lot of hard shoot 'em ups, and it's nice to have an easier one occasionally. But I grabbed this on eBay maybe a year ago and got a really good deal on it. Like, it was half of what it usually goes for, so lucky me, I guess. This is my favorite beat 'em up series of all time. I had the first one when I was a kid. It was one of the first games I went to pick up when I started collecting as an adult, and it's Streets of Rage. And sadly, I don't have Streets of Rage 2 or 3. I've just never come across them. And Streets of Rage 2 is pretty common. Streets of Rage 3 is harder to find. Played Streets of Rage 4 with my wife on the PlayStation 4. We both had a great time with it. So, big fan of this series. I found this game at a thrift store, and it was like almost in immaculate, perfect condition, but it's Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. It's pretty decent. Focus, yeah, there we go. Street Fighter 2, what can you say? This is kind of an exploratory shmup. You see this game all the time. Like, this is an extremely common game, but it's Subterranea. It's supposed to be, like, all right, I think. This isn't an expensive game. It's relatively cheap. I paid about $10 for it just a couple years ago. It's not much more than that now. This is like my jam. No one says anymore. This is my game. I prefer this game. I think this game is fantastic. It's Sunset Riders. So good. Like a side-scrolling run-and-gun arcade game done by Konami. It plays cowboys, and this is great. I also have this on the Super Nintendo. They're hard to find on both systems, but I think I did beat this with my friends on the Genesis, and I thought the Super Nintendo version was like the same, but apparently they're different. So maybe I need to like do a video comparing these two. Let me know if you'd like to see that. Super Street Fighter 2, more of the same, but with some more characters. Does this have Cammy in it? I can't remember. All the Street Fighter games like blend together in my mind. They're great, but like, it's just like a DLC pack. This is just a DLC pack. They added like 4 characters and they charge you like another $60. Like, I don't understand. How else would you do it though on a cartridge, like, other than release the whole thing? Just did a review of this on the Game Gear. Not very good. It's probably better here, but probably not much better. That's T2, the arcade game. Gallery shooter. Everyone played this in the arcade. Probably spent $30. I don't know if you could like, always wonder like how bad a quarter muncher an arcade cabinet is. Like, if you went in blind, let's just say you're an average arcade goer. You have skills at video games, but not this one in particular. And you see the T2 arcade game with those little mini guns that you aim at the screen. How much money would you have to spend to like beat the game on your first try? Like, would it be $30? Would you have to spend like $30 in quarters to beat this game on your first try? Maybe. I don't know. I used to keep track of that stuff when I played like arcade games. And some games, like, I felt like I was doing really well. Like the Aliens arcade game. It's like, I don't think you can beat the last boss until you've put in $5 worth of quarters or something. Like, it's gated. Like, you can't damage him enough until you put in enough quarters. I wonder if this game's like that. It feels like it is. I have not played this. I love the series. I mentioned it earlier. Thunder Force 2. It has some like interesting over-the-top levels, as well as some side-scrolling stuff. It's supposed to be really good. And this one is probably going to be like my favorite shmup on the system, although I need to refresh myself on it. It's been many years since I played it. Thunder Force 3. It's supposed to be fantastic. It's supposed to be relatively intermediate in its difficulty, which is good for a shoot 'em up. They don't all need to be like impossibly difficult. Sometimes you just want to sit back and relax and just play through the game a few times, you know, rather than like routing every level for weeks. This game looks good, and I've learned that people like it, but I think they like it because they were like a kid when they played it. I was a little old for this series when it came out in this game, but I did play this as an adult, and I don't remember it being very good, like at all. And it's Toy Story, great movie series, but like this game's, it's got these digitized graphics. But it's just real clunky to play. Did you hear that sound? Fascinating. Way to go, Box Protector. Okay, I feel like every longtime collector who's been around the block a bit, maybe like me, I wouldn't say I'm a long time, but fairly long time, will come across like a rare game, like a highly sought after game that people really want, and you'll just keep coming across it over and over. Like, people online will be like, oh my Lord, I found this game, it took me 10 years, and you found it like 11 times. I keep finding this game. This is the game, my rare game, that rare, expensive, uncommon, that I run into. I found this game out and about, like at yard sales and thrift stores, probably like 7 or 8 times. And it's TMNT Hyperstone Heist. Like, I was literally in a GameStop, and this is a couple years ago, like kind of at the end of COVID, or when there was this lull in COVID when everybody got vaccinated and we thought it was like safe to go back out before it came back again. I was in a GameStop and a guy walked in and was like, hey, do you guys buy retro games? And GameStop was like, absolutely not. And I was like, I'll take a look at them. And he had like a whole bunch of Genesis stuff, including 2 copies of this game. Like, one was loose and one was in the box. And he told me when he was a kid, he thought he lost the loose copy, so he had his parents buy him another copy, and then he found it later. I was like, how much do you want for all this stuff? And he's like, I'd really like to get $50 for it. And I was like, I'll give you more than that. I got a $100 bill on me. Will you take that? And he goes, yeah. Sure, he's happy to get it. And I got a bunch of cool stuff, but I see this game everywhere. It's pretty decent. It's kind of like a remix of Turtles in Time on the SNES, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4. It's pretty good. Everybody loves it. They have like a real strong love relationship with TMNT. I like it. I grew up with it, but it's not my favorite series of all time. Sunset Riders is a much better game than this. Like, it's not even close. The first game in the series I really liked. It's clunky and weird. I don't have it, but I have this sequel, and it's Toe Jam and Earl Panic on Funkatron. This is a side scroller, and it's supposed to be like better than the first game, but I don't think so. Of course, I have not played the first game, regular Toe Jam and Earl, since I rented it as a kid. Maybe I owned it. I don't remember. I gotta get that game. This one I played as an adult. I only spent a little bit of time with it. I didn't like it. Should I go back and try this one again? Let me know. Let me know. You guys tell me. I play so many games that, like, sometimes I don't, if it doesn't grab me right away, I'm like, like, put it on the back burner, or just like knock it off the list and let it go. Now that I'm doing this YouTube channel, I like review every game I play. I'll probably spend some more time with them, but this one missed it. I played this like so many years ago, 10, 12 years ago or something. Brief intermission time, put these back on the shelf, grab the next batch. I think we're almost to the end, really. My Genesis collection's not as big as the other ones. It's been a busy week. I had to do a little like more medium-sized collection this week to like, live my life. Company's coming over. I have to take my car to the shop today. Like, I don't have any way to like pick up the kids. I hope they give me a loaner. Am I gonna have to rent a car to like take my kids to, or pick my kids up from school and daycare? Or am I gonna have to like get an Uber to drive me all around town? Is it worth it? I don't know, man. Maybe they'll fix my car. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it'll take 3 days. maybe it'll be next week. Anyway, we'll get right back into it. Okay guys, we're back. This is the last batch, so this will be the last section of the video. Up next is a fantastic shoot 'em up on the Genesis. It's really hard to find. The sequel of it is like a holy grail. We're talking like maybe $1,000 game. It only came out in Japan. The first one's called Troubleshooter, and it's kind of a high-priced game too. I found it at the Southeast Game Exchange convention from a guy that was just like clearing out some stuff, and he had this one in there, and I got to it early, and the price was pretty decent. I think I paid $40 for it. I think I own like every copy of this game, including the M2 Shot Triggers release on the PS4, but it's Twin Cobra. I have it on the NES as well. Really fun game, really hard. I'm gonna try to get the 1 credit clear on this. Coming up, you'll see a video about that maybe sooner than later. I never liked these games growing up. They made us play them in school. I was never good at them. I don't have the manual to this one, which is Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego? Focus. Cool idea, but like you have to consult like an almanac essentially to know what to do, or just be like a genius if you're a kid. Anyway, it's Carmen Sandiego, man. You're trying to find Carmen Sandiego by answering questions. It's an educational game. In theory, it's not like it educates you. It's like you need to already be educated to play it. I know a lot about time and history. I'm minored in history in college, and really I'm a history buff. I read a lot of history books, but like, I don't know that I could beat this game as an adult without the guide. Maybe I could. Yeah, of course I can do it. You can too. Grab your textbook from 3rd grade and see how much of it you remember. My daughter will tell you about that. I really like this series. I think it's pretty decent. My complaint with it is I can't keep the titles of the games in order or remember which one's which. It's really convoluted. But it's the Wonder Boy series, and this is Wonder Boy and Monster World. They all have like some name, like Monster Boy and the Dragon's Trap, or Monster Boy 2 and the Dragon World, and like Monster Boy 4, you know, the Dragon's World. Like it's too hard to remember what they are, and they have like numbers and titles, like Wonder Boy 3 and Wonder Boy 4 are the same game, but one's on the TurboGrafx 16, and I don't know, it's confusing. Whatever the case. This is pretty decent. Kind of like a little side-scrolling mini RPG action game. They're fun. I played this game on the Sega channel when I was a kid. If you don't know what the Sega channel is, look into that. It was very strange. And I think this is the one where you get to the point in the game where you have to disarm a bomb and they tell you to reset the bomb. And like you can't figure out what to do and there's a timer. And what you're supposed to do is reset your console. Like hit the reset button and it disarms the bomb in the game. So strange. I think it's this one. It might be X-Men 2. But I don't know how you do that on an emulator. And you couldn't do it on the Sega channel. So like there's no way to beat that game. I got to that same part and got stuck over and over and over again. Very irritating, but this is an okay game for a side-scrolling X-Men game. Okay guys, years ago, not that many years ago, 3 years ago, I used to put every loose game I had in like a universal game case. And I would go to the coverproject.org and like print off the game's cover art like on photo paper and cut it out and put it in these cases, and the cases were like $2 a piece and it cost about $1 a page to print it. And a lot of times the games I bought were like so obscure and rare there was no scanned cover art. So like I even like paid people to recreate art of games for that website. And this is one of those games. Someone had to recreate this art from scratch. I don't know how they did it. There were no high quality scans. Maybe they doctored it in Photoshop or whatever. But this is Action 52, the Sega Genesis version of it. I also have the Genesis version, which is worth a lot more. I've never played the Genesis version. I want to try it out. But let me say something about these Universal game cases. I've kept them around, a few on the Genesis. All of my loose NES games that you see like behind me a lot of times, they're kind of like off camera right now. I had these Universal game cases, and it took up like multiple of these shelves. And when I took them out, it like condensed my collection down by like probably 60%. And I had like, you know, those big like Rubbermaid totes. I had probably like 5 of those totes just full of Universal game cases. And I took them to traded them away to somebody for like, you know, they gave me like $4 trade credit per case. Like it was crazy. So I was so glad I got rid of it, and I've stopped making these Universal game cases and using them for my games, but I kept a few around on the Genesis because they looked okay on the shelf. And because I put so much freaking effort into them. But all these other games you're going to see are like loose in these Universal game cases. Alien 3, not a great game. Kind of clunky and hard to play. Side-scrolling action game. I feel like you get lost in these games a lot and you don't know where to go. And that's definitely the case with this one. It's time for Animaniacs. Anyway, cool show, not a great game. I just want like a side-scrolling action game. This is almost like a puzzle game, like Lost Vikings, where you switch between, what was it, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, right? Is that who it was? You switch between them, they have different abilities, and you try to like work your way through the levels. This game could have been better. I have not played this game in a long time. I remember it being like hard to play. It kind of reminds me of like Desert Strike and Urban Strike and all those games on the Genesis, but it's Battletech. Plays a mech, you run around destroying stuff, but you have to like manage your ammo of the 70 weapons you know you have on your mech. I kind of don't like that stuff. Classic Genesis game. It was like their answer to Tetris, Columns. It's a match 3 game. I like Columns. I like these kind of games. I like the simplicity of this one. Ooh, man. All Hell Corporate, right? Cool Spot. The mascot of 7-Up Soda had his own game. He had a game on the Genesis, or on the NES, which is just like basically the game Othello, but this is like a side scroller. Surprisingly decent for like a corporate cash-in. It's all right. Give it a shot. Man, another Sylvester Stallone movie. Demolition Man. I think I played this. I don't remember it. I remember this movie very vividly, and I've seen it like 2 times, including when it came out at the theater. It's not a good movie, but it's so bizarre and strange and unlike anything else I've ever seen. It just stuck in my mind. I could probably like rewrite the script scene for scene from this. I've seen it like one time. Wesley Snipes was insane in this. Like, what a crazy character. What a crazy movie, man. Oh, remember the franchise wars? Taco Bell won the franchise wars, and it was like the only restaurant left. Oh, man. I bet they wish that was true now. In the days before Chipotle. All right, I don't like this series very much. I find it, I mean, it's pretty, but it's like obtuse and clunky and a lot of wandering around trying to figure out what to do. But it's Echo the Dolphin. You heard me talk about this. It's fine. Everybody knows what Echo the Dolphin is. This one was better, a lot weirder, but strange. If you put in the code for the level select in this and you go through some of the levels, some of them are like bizarre. There's like levels that I think maybe for the programmers to test stuff that you like don't experience in the game. They're weird. I remember there's one with like a ball in a square room with like chains supporting the ball and you just push the ball around. Was that in the real game or was that just like a developer level? Strange game. But it's Echo, the Tides of Time. It's fine. This had some like Space Harrier kind of levels where you jumped through like rings and stuff that was popular. You saw that in like Sonic 2 and things. I think every game done by Sega had to have that. I don't know. This game's bad. Usually the Mickey games from the 16-bit era were pretty decent, but Fantasia is horrible. You go through like all the stages from Fantasia with like a Night on Bald Mountain and all that sort of stuff, but it's like really clunky and hard, but it looks good. It looks pretty. It's just, it does not play well at all. I played this, I don't remember anything about it. You know, Marvel game, The Incredible Hulk. Do people like this now? When I started collecting, like nobody cared at all about any kind of like licensed games, especially not like comic games. And then the Marvel Cinematic Universe like became a thing. Are these games like sought after now? Do people want to play these? Are they considered good? This is not a good game. I would have remembered if it was. It was not great. I had this game when I was a kid. I really like it. It's got like 1 million levels in it, but you play as this kid and you pick up different helmets that like change your abilities. And it's kind of like almost like a Euro game. You have these big sprawling levels and you're just trying to kind of like figure out how to get through them. But it's Kid Chameleon. This was a very common game for the longest time. Oh, it's focusing on the kid's face. Thanks, camera. But I don't hear much about this anymore. This used to be like as common as like Sonic 2. I remember when I was a kid, you could go to Toys R Us and you could buy this game for $20 new. So it was like one of those rare games where you're like, you have $20 birthday money and you want to buy a game. Every game's $50 or $60. And there's like, oh, there's one that's $20. Well, that game's Kid Chameleon. The other one was Cyborg Justice. This is a one-on-one fighter. I don't remember much about it. It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I played it. I don't think this is a very good game. It wasn't a very good game. Power Rangers came out when I was in like 4th or 5th grade. It was kind of cool, but not really. And this is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, the game. I don't remember if this is a one-on-one fighter or if this is a beat 'em up. This is a one-on-one fighter too, right? I did play this one. It's a little bit better. I have a real issue with this board game. Every time I've played it in my life, people like get so angry, like I think a fist fight's gonna happen. And that includes with like your family. I do like the video version of this, and this one's okay, but I think it's better on the NES, and that's Monopoly. It's Monopoly. You know how to play Monopoly. Growing up, we had special rules, family rules for Monopoly that I thought were normal till I played it on like a video game version of it and found out like I've been playing Monopoly my whole life incorrectly. We would put like $7,000 in free parking, and if you landed on free parking, you just collected the money. So every game of Monopoly lasted like half a summer. Like you play like 3 hours a day every day, it never ended. It wasn't until I found out the real rules of Monopoly and actually read them as like a college student that you can play a game of Monopoly in an hour. I never played a game of Monopoly in an hour my entire life up to that point, except when people got so angry they like flipped the board off the table. But I recently played Monopoly with my wife and my daughter, and I told them if anybody complains or whines, I will take the game and I will pack it up and we will never play it again. And like 45 minutes into it, people were getting angry. And I was like, that's it. We're never playing Monopoly. We're not going to do it. What a contentious game. Like, why does it make everybody so angry when you play it? I don't understand. This is a pretty good Donald Duck game. Quackshot. My complaint with this game is that you can pick like any of the first 4 levels to play in the order, but some of them you can't finish unless you finish the others. And it's not like Mega Man where like you get a power up from one boss that helps you with the other. Like you need an item from like stage 3 to beat stage 2. And there's no way to do that unless you just know where to go. So I don't think I ever beat this one as a kid. I need to play this again. This game's starting to get some love now, and deservedly so. It's Rystar. Really cute and impressive looking side-scrolling action game that was kind of like late into the Genesis's life. It's hard to say. Anyway, fun game. Rystar's really cute. This game's getting kind of a little pricey now. Here's another one that's kind of pricey. It came out on the Super Nintendo, and it's a totally different game, but it's Shadowrun. I have not played this. I've never played this. I stayed over at a friend's house in middle school, I think, and he had this, and like he stayed up playing it like while I was there. Like he didn't want to hang out and play with me. He just wanted to play freaking Shadowrun. And I remember like going to sleep while he was playing Shadowrun, and when I woke up in the morning, he was still playing Shadowrun. He stayed up all night. He didn't hang out with me. He just played this game. So maybe it's pretty good. Here's another Spider-Man and X-Men crossover. What is this? Arcade's Revenge. Spider-Man, X-Men, Arcade's Revenge. I have not played this. I don't know anything about this, but obviously it's a side scroller. It's a decent, I don't know, let me know. This is a really impressive game on the Genesis. It's kind of a famous Genesis game. I did play it, but I have not ever finished it or made it extremely far. Vector Man looks cool, but it's a little clunky. It's got these neat kind of like almost polygonal looks. It's like digitized like Mortal Kombat, but from like not real life. I don't know how to say it. It's strange. It's like the computer animated something and digitized it into the game, kind of like what they did with Toy Story. This is a pretty fun shoot 'em up on the Genesis. On the Mega Drive, it's called like Ganog or something like that, but it's Wings of War. It's another kind of like mythology almost based shoot 'em up. And I did a review of this on Game Facts that people really seem to like. My copy of it is this is an ugly, look at this label, man. It's like a generic medication label. But it came from Premiere Video. It was a rental. Thanks, Premiere Video. You don't exist anymore. But I paid $10 for this. It still has the price on it. Boom, there it is. $10 for a loose copy. What's it going for now? Probably more than $10. This game's pretty good. I haven't played it in a long time, but it's World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Focus, there we go. Side scroller. I'm not a huge like Disney fan. I mean, I like Disney. I grew up with it, but Disney games on the Genesis, Super Nintendo were pretty good. I'm surprised to say I don't play a lot of licensed games. I like original content, but those were pretty good. And then X-Men 2, The Clone Wars. I can't remember if this one or the first one's the one where you have to hit the reset button that I mentioned earlier, but this is just more of the same. It's all right. And then I have 3 like loose games that I did not print a universal game case for. They're just like hanging out on the shelf somewhere. We have Primal Rage, dinosaurs beating the crap out of each other. I don't know why you even, do you need to see this? Focus. I'm like, focus. Does it matter? There's nothing on there but like letters. Dinosaurs beating the crap out of each other. Cool. It's fine. It's like Mortal Kombat, but not as interesting or as good, in my opinion. Cool light gun game. Fun. I like this one a lot. Lethal Enforcers. There it is. And I have the Justifier light gun around here somewhere. I've got the blue one. And this is the one that I got for my birthday when I was 13 years old. I had a birthday party where all my friends came over and played it, and they all got in trouble because this is a mature rated game, but it was Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Pretty cool game. Probably the best one on the Genesis, I'd say. The best Mortal Kombat game. I can't remember. A lot of fun, though. All right, guys. There it is. That's my Sega Genesis collection. Of course, I have the 32X and the Sega CD and all that stuff. I will do that in a different video. This is enough for now. I'm kind of busy today, as I mentioned. But thanks for tuning in with me. We're closing in on 500 subscribers. We're right there. I think we're at like 475 or so as I'm filming this. We might hit the 500 by the time that this video comes out. So if we did, thanks. If not, hit that like button and subscribe. Hit the bell. Help me out. Anyway, I have a special treat planned for 500 subscribers. I'm going to pick out several, maybe 7 or 8 games in my collection that are like rare or high value games that are like holy grail games that are sought after that I've never played. And I'm going to let you guys pick out which one I'm going to play. So you'll get to put that in the comments and vote on which one you want. And there's some good ones. We'll do a whole video about them and like why I haven't played them. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for the support. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And like I said, subscribe, like, comment. I love the comments. I love talking with you guys. There's usually a lot of positive comments, not so many negative ones yet. Waiting for those to come flowing in. But if you have something you want to air your grievances against me, let me know. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks so much.